Today, I'm talking to Russ. At 550 pounds, Russ was struggling to stand long enough to boil an egg and would take his cell phone with him to take out the trash just in case. Russ has been eating keto for over a year now, and in today's interview, we're going to hear about how he's doing. Just before we get started, do me a massive favor, smash like and also please subscribe. It really helps out the channel and I appreciate your support. Let's meet Russ. What took you to keto?
Ooh, man, that's a loaded question there. Basically, I ate myself to 550 pounds, Dave. And I was looking for anything. I don't think my story is much different than many people. In the sense that we all, most of us, came to ketogenic living because of some type of problem, some type of pain or suffering or illness or weight or just some type of problem brought us here. So my story is not much different there. I grew up eating a standard American diet, and I grew up actually in the Seventh Day Adventist Church, where they teach a vegetarian kind of message there. It's not quite what people think it is, but it is definitely taught and advocated, and learning what everybody I think learns about nutrition and what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat and all that kind of stuff. So when you put it all together, I developed a weight problem at a very young age, about 8 years old, and I carried it, through my entire life, um, up until a point where I was willing to pretty much do anything, and that led me to keto.
How long have you been on keto now?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, I guess. You know, just to take a step back, I first heard of the Atkins diet in the early 2000s. It was around 2002, 2003. And on my channel, I have a series called My Overweight Life, where I talk about my entire life. And I talk about that in one of those where I first learned about it in 2000, early 2000s, but I thought it was just a fad, just a quick, weight loss scheme, where you're basically trading your long-term health for some short-term weight loss. And it wasn't until um, about in the end of 2020, I think it was 2022 or the beginning of 2022, when I started researching and finding out that it wasn't really, any type of gimmick or anything. It really was the diet we're supposed to be eating. And I learned about ketosis, and so I started down a path to get to ketosis. And it took me about a year because the way I approached it, I wanted ketosis to be my finish line, not my starting line. And because I know myself and how goofy I am and how my mind works, I don't do well with big changes. I just don't. So I had to incrementally make small changes, create new normals for myself, and get myself, to that ketosis state. So I got into ketosis May the 22nd of this year, after starting in May of the previous year, just one by one, kicking things out of my life. And it took longer than I thought. When I first went into it, I thought I could do this maybe in a few months. Yeah, that's not how it worked out at all. But it was in many ways a fight for my life. So I had to keep fighting and keep struggling. But I eventually got there in May. So depending on how you look at it, in May of 2023, I got myself into ketosis, but I started many, many months before that trying to get there, incrementally.
So since your journey began, what improvements have you seen, whether it's with your physical health or mental health?
Yeah, the mental side of it, is interesting to me. I didn't have any of the stereotypical problems that a 550-pound person would have. I'd never spent a night in the hospital. I've never taken any medication other than antibiotic in my life. Um, Even now, I'm still, my last weigh in was 508. But even before that, my A1C was 5. My fasting glucose was in the 90s. I just was just heavy. I couldn't carry, my weight. That was really my problem. And so, I've lost about like I said, 40 pounds since May, and it's uh, just daily living, being able to take my trash to the curb. I used to take my cell phone with me when I would take my trash out to the curb because I have kind of a long driveway, and I would get about halfway down the driveway, and I would just feel like I couldn't make it. And so I would carry my cell phone with me just in case I didn't make it back to the house. I couldn't stand up long enough to shave. I couldn't stand long enough to scramble eggs or to heat up something in the microwave. So, with just a 40-pound loss, I've gotten those things back. And that's really what it's about, I think, for most people is getting their life back, no matter what their illness or situation is. So, I'm 54 years old. I've never in my life ever bought a smaller size, ever. Um, you know, uh, and I've never lost 40 pounds before. I found 40 pounds a lot of times, but I've never lost 40 pounds before. So, and I've done it my way. I've not done it like a lot of other folks because again, my mind is, you know, I'm an odd bird, Dave. I'm an odd bird, and so the way I process things, the way I deal with things, the way I have to, psychologically keep myself in the game is different than some people. So, there's been that as well, and that's kind of why I'm doing what I do because my story and my path, while it's similar to others, it is markedly different in a lot of ways. And I didn't see a lot of people telling the story that way. And I wanted to lend my voice and show people just a little different side.
You mentioned at the start you grew up in the Seventh Day Adventist Church. Are
Mhm.
you still a member of the church now?
I was never a member of the church. I never joined the church. My parents were Seventh Day Adventists. My dad still is a Seventh Day Adventist. My mom isn't. Most of my family is Seventh Day Adventists. But I never joined the church, although there was, I was encouraged to do so. But I've never been a member of any church. I've never been baptized or been a member of any church. But the first 18 years of my life I spent there. I went to Seventh Day Adventist boarding school as well for 4 years, and my first year of college was Seventh Day Adventist college. So, so yeah, I was in the mix.
So from that perspective, with your some of your family still in the church, and I guess you have friends or at least acquaintances that you've made over the years that are in the church. Does
Oh yeah.
anyone kind of have feelings about the way you're eating now,
No,
or
no,
anyone
no, a lot
comment
of
on them?
people don't. Again, if you're not part of the church, a lot of people I hear things all the time, that only about 35% of Seventh-day Adventists are vegetarians. A lot of people don't know that. They serve meat in their hospitals. Growing up, um, I didn't know very many vegetarians. It was certainly encouraged, but it wasn't mandated. There are pastors, church workers that are not vegetarians. Again, it's only 35%. So it wasn't. I don't know. Like I said, I hear lots of things that just were embellished. I mean, Ellen White's been, passed away for over 100 years. So it's just it's not what people sometimes think it is, but there's no doubt about that they advocate for it and they think it's the best and you're encouraged. But yeah, my family is probably 50-50 vegetarian at best. I'd have to think about it, but maybe 60-40. And then some of them bounce back and forth. And some of them, were for a long time, then weren't, then went back. It's just really a mixed bag. But certainly, you're taught that, it's the best way and that it's something that you should, try your best to do. But it's not that different than the standard American, in the sense of your fruits and vegetables and grains are encouraged no matter what. You can be an atheist if you go to a typical, standard American doctor, as I call them. They're going to tell you to eat grains and fruits and vegetables and lean meats and all the things that we, as ketogenic folks, have found is not the answer for us.
can you describe what a day is like for you as far as eating is concerned?
Sure. I have a little different philosophy. I developed, what I call a 90-10 philosophy. And I live my life. I don't watch the scale. I weigh myself once a month. I don't worry about the things that I eat per se. I've just created new normals and new routines for myself over the last year or so. But there's times when I veer a little bit off the path, and I don't worry about it. I get back on the path. But a typical day for me is a couple 2 meals a day. One meal is zero carbs. That's usually my first meal of the day: bacon and eggs, steak and eggs, something along that line. Then my second meal of the day is a meal with some carbs of some sort. My number, I'm an advocate of the carb number myself, because I consider myself a ketogenic evangelist. That's how I think of myself. And when I'm with the family, I talk about ketovore, carnivore, dirty this, dirty that. But your average person that I run into that I'm sharing this message with, you'd be surprised how many people don't even know what a carnivore is. And they damn sure don't know what a ketovore is. So I use carb number as a way to introduce folks to ketogenic living, because it's simple and it's easy for them to understand. And everything else in our health is numbers: our weight, our blood pressure, our A1Cs, our glucose. I mean, everything is numbers. So, when you tell people, hey, my number is 15, or my number's 12, or my number's 30, or my number's 0, it's easier for them to comprehend. And especially with folks that are not in the life, they have no idea how many carbohydrates they're eating. They have, in many cases, they don't even know what a carbohydrate necessarily is. You don't know how many people I've had to explain that a corn chip, is high in carbohydrates, because when they think of keto and low carb, they just think about sugar. Oh, well, you don't eat bread, and you don't drink pop or soda. Yeah, but grains are also, very high in carbohydrates, and fruit. So there's a lot of evangelism that goes on there, and a lot of explaining and teaching. But my number is around 15. It bounces between 10 and 15 a day total carbs. That's where I'm comfortable. That's I feel good at that. I can sustain that. And 80% of those are trace carbs that I get in sauces, condiments. I eat, tomato sauce, salsa, guacamole, Alfredo sauce, things like that. And about once a month, I have some actual vegetables that I eat. So, so yeah, that's a typical day for me. I rotate between ground beef. I kind of separate them because ground beef is kind of its own thing. Then beef is like briskets or steak or things like that. Lamb and salmon, and then little bits of seafood and chicken. Not very much there, but I have that steady rotation of lamb, beef, ground beef, salmon, and then on the other side, egg salad, boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, those are kind of a staple. And then little bits of like hot beef hot dogs, stuff like that. Bacon, of course. And so I just kind of mix and match and rotate. Some dairy, a little cream cheese. I can eat cream cheese like a Snickers bar. I take a couple bites of it here and there. Heavy cream, that's nectar of the gods. I slow sip it like bourbon. So heavy cream is listen, I have a video, man. I I I almost ran out of heavy cream. uh I thought I had an extra one, and I didn't. I was down to my last little bit, and I joke about it in my video. I said, man, if I'd have run out of heavy cream, I'd have burned my own house down. I'm just telling you, I'd have burned it to the ground. So we can't. I put cream in all kind of stuff. Like I said, I slow sip it like bourbon. People think I'm joking when I say that. I'm not kidding at all. That is not a joke. So I put a
It's
little bit
interesting.
of, you go ahead, Dave.
It's interesting you say that. Like, um, prior to going keto, were you? Did you feel that way about heavy cream?
No.
No.
No, no, no. It's just I don't think I'm trying to think because I didn't drink coffee before I started doing this. I only started drinking coffee about 3 months ago. I can't. I might have had 5 cups of coffee in my life. I drink coffee every day now, and the only reason I started doing it is because I never had. It's just I got to a place in my life where I was just it's like if I've never done it before, I'm gonna start doing it because I've lived
Mm.
50 years of my life one way. I'm going a different way, and so I bought a snazzy coffee maker and some cream. And now, when I did drink coffee occasionally, I would always put extra cream in it. But I can't think of ever just sipping cream, like ever, just like right out of the carton. I can't think of ever doing that in my life. But now it's a pretty regular thing. That's funny. That's a good question, Dave. I never really thought about that. But
Yeah.
I was obsessed at first with anything that I could consume that wouldn't raise my blood sugar or insulin. I was all about it. I've kind of gotten a little pickier, and I've narrowed it down over the last maybe 6 months a little bit. But when I first, like got into ketosis, or when I was close, that was just my mission, was to get through the day without anything that was going to raise my blood sugar or my insulin, because ketosis for me was my ticket out. When I saw Dr. Ben Bickman give a speech, a talk about ketosis, and he broke it down in a way that I remember just sitting there, and it was like he was talking directly to me. And I knew, I'm like, that's my ticket out. If I get to ketosis, I'll be okay. And so that became my goal. And like I said, it was tough, but I anticipated being tough, and I wanted it to be tough at the front end, so that when I got there, it would be easy. And that's pretty much exactly how it's worked out for me. I fought all my battles for the past year before I got into ketosis, and by the time I got to ketosis, my battles and struggles and fights were largely over. And it hasn't been hard for me, you know, once I got there, to stay there. Because I could have starved myself at the beginning. I mean, and I had that thought. I'm like, you know what? I could starve myself and I can get to ketosis by the end of the week. But I thought about it, and I'm like, if I do that, I'm going to be fighting this thing forever. I don't want to start a fight, and to get into ketosis. I want to be in ketosis when the fight is over, because I need to do this for the rest of my life. And that's where the yo-yo dieting and things come in my opinion, Dave. Is if you get yourself into something you can't sustain, or something you can't do long term, that's how you get the yo-yo dieting, and that petrifies me. I can't imagine, and I've watched my friends and people that I know and acquaintances do this, and it just I can't imagine losing 200 pounds and then gaining it all back. I can't imagine that. Um, but again, if you get yourself into situations that you can't get out of, or you put yourself in a way, something you can't sustain, then that's inevitably what's going to happen to you.
Yeah. So on that point, I tend to agree with what you say as far as, it's much better to kind of get somewhere gradually than go on
Yeah.
this roller coaster where it's just going to be yo-yoing all the time. And that's the one extreme to the other is one of the problems that we have, right?
Well, it depends on your personality and your temperament. Some people can cold turkey stuff. Okay. I can't. What's the opposite of cold turkey? Hot turkey? Okay. I got a hot turkey stuff. Okay. I can't listen. If I was a smoker and I wanted to stop smoking, I would need the patch, the gum, a Ouija board, a seance, a hypnotist, the patch, more gum, and a lot of time. Okay. Now I could get there, but I can't. I know guys that just stop smoking one day. They smoke a pack a day. They wake up, I'm not smoking anymore, and they don't. It could never happen to me. Same way with with my path on this keto life. Some people just wake up one day, throw everything out of the house, and they're like, "I'm just eating water, drinking water, and eating meat." Not your man. That's not how my mind works. See, I'm a creature of habit, a creature of comfort, a creature of routine. So for me, my routine and my habits and my norms are a gravitational pull. I'm always pulled back to my normal. That's why I knew I had to create a new normal. I had to create new normals for myself because that's what it's. I don't know how to describe it other than it's like I was talking with Rachel, the Two Crazy Ketos, about it, and because she thought it was interesting. If I when I go to a restaurant, like say Longhorns, for instance, I've been to Longhorn probably no less than 100 times in my life. I order the same thing every time. I don't even know what else they have on the menu. I get the outlaw 18 ounce bone-in ribeye. I used to get potatoes and stuff. Now I get double vegetable, like a double broccoli, and I used to order sweet tea. Now I just get water. But I get the same thing every time. So if I go in there now that I'm keto, I get the outlaw double broccoli, water, no bread, whatever. If I go in there, Dave, and they don't have broccoli, and I'll say, well, what do you have? They say, well, we have asparagus. Like, okay, I'll have the asparagus. It can be the best asparagus I've ever had in my life. The next time I go in there, what do you think I'm going to order? The
You go back to
broccoli.
the broccoli.
Exactly, because that's my normal. That's what I do. It doesn't matter that the asparagus is better than the broccoli. Broccoli is what I do, and that's how I am in and virtually all aspects of my life. So I had to approach it that way because I know myself. I'm like, hey, I've got to make new normals for myself because I know once I create these routines, once I create these norms, I'm going to bounce back to them. And that's why I can go have, I talked about it. I went to the Ketogenic Summit in Orlando in August. And on the way home from the Ketogenic Summit, I stopped at Taco Bell and had a burrito and a sweet tea. Okay. Okay. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I was hungry. There was nothing else open. I went into Taco Bell, had a burrito sweet. Guess what I had the next morning for breakfast? Steak and eggs. Because that's my normal. That's my routine. I'm always pulled back to my routine and my normal. It happened the first 2 weeks. Listen, I was in keto my first week, May the 22nd. Okay, I got into ketosis. I think it was a Monday or Tuesday. That Friday, somebody brought donuts to the house and I ate some of them. Okay, more than 3, less than 6. Okay, pick a number with it. Okay, all right. That was in the afternoon. For dinner, I had steak. That's it. Why? Because that's my normal. Now, in times past, I would have said, well, I've already ruined the day today with some donuts, so I might as well order a pizza. Yeah, but I didn't do that because pizza's not my normal anymore. And then get this. So I had the donuts on that Friday, right? I jumped right back on. I had steak for dinner. Next day, steak and eggs. I think I had some salmon, had some ground beef. I'm right, just going right along. The next Thursday, my brother and his kids came down, and my nieces baked chocolate chip cookies. Got the whole house smelling like the Nestle's Toll House. Okay, I had some cookies. My nieces made cookies. Now they didn't. In fairness, they didn't know that I was doing keto. They didn't know. I didn't tell a soul. Okay. So they had no idea. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want people to treat me different. I don't want people tiptoeing around me. If my brother and sister knew what I was doing, they would have never let those girls bake those cookies. And I didn't want that. This is Uncle Russ's house, man. It's Disneyland, okay? I got a popcorn machine, a snow cone maker. I got a PlayStation 5. The kids come here, they run amok, they love it. I can't have them saying, oh, Uncle Russ is on a program. We can't bake cookies anymore. No, I'm going to eat those cookies with my family. I love my family, okay? Guess what? The next morning, steak and eggs, okay? Because that's my normal. You see? So that's why I don't worry about getting off track or if I eat something I shouldn't I don't have cheat days. I don't fall off the wagon. I live my life. And my new life is ketogenic. And that's what I do 90 plus percent of the time. And I'm going to be fine. And that's what I did when I started. I'm like, you know what? It's 365 days in a year. That gives me 329 days to do right. And that gives me 36 days to just to run amok. And that's really how I live my life. I don't count the days. I don't sit there, oh, I got 23 more days. I can eat popcorn and popsicles. No, I live my life. But I know there's going to be times in there. Listen, on Thanksgiving, I'm eating with my family. You know, on Christmas, I'm eating with my nieces send me Christmas cookies home baked. I'm eating them, and they better not send me no damn keto cookies. I'm telling you, I will cuss those kids out if they send me a keto cookie to the house. I want real cookies. Okay, all right. But again, that's 1 day a year, 2 days a year, 5 days a year. That's not my normal life anymore. You know, I laugh about it now, Dave, because you know I eat less carbs, like I said, in a month than I probably used to eat in any given day. I was easily knocking down 500 carbs a day. I was drinking 300 of them.
Mm.
You know, I mean, it's
So was that probably the worst thing for you as you were growing up? Was it like drinking the carbs? Was it like the sodas and the sweet teas and stuff?
yeah. I mean, you didn't know what you didn't know. You know, I mean, you're talking 50 years ago. My parents didn't understand. Hell, people don't understand ketogenic metabolic health today. I mean, so you just didn't know better. It was just what you came up doing. Everybody, you know, I mean, I come from a line of women, but they could rattle them pans, Dave. They could rattle them pans, brother. Okay, I mean, that Southern influence from my grandmothers and my aunts and stuff, man, and we got it in, baby. I'm telling you what, dude, nothing but forks clinking and lips smacking. Okay, that's all you heard, buddy, when we was over there. But I'm telling you, I mean, and it was, you know, just all the wrong things, and you know, it was, you know, and I don't know if they have this in Australia, the Clean Plate Club. I don't know if you ever heard such a thing. But oh yeah, yeah, the kids in America know what the Clean Plate Club is, especially if you're my age. They would put that food on your plate, and you had to eat it to get into the Clean Plate Club. So they would pile it high with potatoes and rice and dinner rolls and cornbread and eat it all. Clean Plate Club. And then guess what? Your reward if you ate all of it, cake and ice cream. So that was my life. And I just grew up eating the wrong foods and falling in love with the wrong foods. And then, of course, eating was a reward and a punishment. And even today, in many cases, it still is. You do something good in school, oh, let's go get some ice cream. You know, you do something bad, and I was always in trouble. Go to bed with no dinner. I mean, it just you just learn so many of the wrong things. You eat at weddings, you eat at funerals. I mean, it doesn't
Mm.
matter. The dog died. Oh, everybody said, "Oh, let's go to, Chuck E. Cheese." You know, it's just the way it was, and the way it still is in large measure. So you just learn all the wrong things the wrong way, and so you're eating the
Yeah.
wrong foods and way too many of them.
Yeah, I remember even growing up, and I see it here as well, is people saying, "You're not getting any dessert unless you finish every last
Right.
bit of that."
That's right.
And it's
That's
like,
right.
hang on, we're gonna stuff them with carbohydrate and then give them more carbohydrates as a
That's
reward.
right. As a reward. Absolutely. That was my life. That was my life. And no wonder I'm 8 years old and, and have a weight problem. I was 250 pounds coming out of high school, you know? I mean, I was, I didn't weigh myself for 30 years, I weighed in at 548 pounds. On the day I got into ketosis, I weighed myself. I hadn't weighed myself since 1993.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's just, what's the point? I know it's too much. I
Mm.
mean, I weighed myself in 1993. I was 319 pounds. I mean, that was, 6 years out of high school. And
Wow.
it's funny. I did try to weigh or somebody tried to weigh me. Let me see. It was probably 10 years ago. It was probably around 2013. If I remember right, I had strep throat. I went to the doctor's office and they brought me in and they checked me out and there was a scale there. And I knew the scale only went up to 350 pounds, and I knew I was north of that. And so the nurse came in. She's like, "Okay, you get on the scale for me." I got on the scale, and it was one of them old metal scales with the little day. Boom! I mean, it just jumped right to the top. And so she was fiddling with it, and I was just laughing to myself. I'm like, I don't know what she's doing here. So she's like, "Well, this scale only goes up to 350 pounds." And so she said, "How much do you think you weigh?" I said, 351. She looked at me. She said, "I like that." She wrote 351 on the page.
Wow.
So yeah, so I had no idea. And that the scale that I weighed myself on was actually the second scale I bought, because I bought a scale about 3 weeks before that only went up to 500 pounds. And when I got on it, it said error. And then when I got off it, and I sent it back and bought a scale that went up to 700 pounds. So, and I
Mm.
didn't get on it right away. I didn't get on it because, again, like I said, I hadn't weighed myself in 30 years. And that's how I feel about it now. The only reason I weigh myself now is for my subscribers, because they're always asking,
Mm.
"How much weight have you lost? And how are you doing?" And so I weigh myself once a month. Otherwise, I you know, I probably wouldn't weigh myself until I had like if my clothes weren't fitting or something, maybe I'd weigh myself. But if I didn't care for the last 30 years, why do I care now?
Mm. Mm.
And that's how
So
I look at it.
with um with doing keto now, um, what is your what is your feeling about how you'd like things to go? Like, would you is there any particular goal that you've got in mind? Like, as far
No.
as you just want to be more active, you want to sleep better, or anything like that, or
Again, again, it's it'll be what it'll be.
mm,
Um, I, of course, I know that I'm going to lose weight. You can't gain weight and be in ketosis. I mean, the two just don't go together. But again, this comes back to me and my weird mind. I told you I'm an odd bird. This is how I don't set long-term goals for myself. And here's why. A normal person, let's say I want to get to 200 pounds. A normal sane person will lose weight and move toward the goal and be happy and, just, "Oh, I lost 3 pounds. I lost 2 pounds." That's not how my mind works. See, you can only hit a goal one time. You can fail to hit a goal 1,000 times. So, in the mind of Russ Mitchell, if I'm 548 pounds and I want to get to 200 pounds, every time I look at that scale and I'm not 200 pounds, I'm a loser. I'm a failure. It doesn't even matter if I lose weight, Dave. If I'm serious, if I let's say I went from 548 to 545, I lost 3 pounds. Russ Mitchell says, 3 pounds. What? Are you kidding me? You can find them before the end of the day. It's like, what's that? That's nothing. You're never going to get there. Okay, that's how my mind works. So I can't worry about long-term goals a year or two. I have to worry about today. I got to win today. Okay, I've got to create normals and routines for myself to get me through today. And by putting day after day after day together, I will ultimately get wherever I get. My goal is to stay in ketosis 329 days a year. That's my goal. If I do that, the rest takes care of itself. I don't have to worry about how much weight I'm losing or that. Like I said, it's the way I have to do it. Other people need goals. Other people, you know, uh, approach it a different way. And and that's again why I'm kind of doing what I'm doing, because I know that it's different. And I don't mind telling you, Dave, I do everything pretty much wrong. I snack, I eat late at night. Um, I do a lot of things you're not supposed to do. But I'm still getting results, and I'm happy, and I'm perfectly happy to lose this weight the same way I gained it. I'm perfectly happy to do that. I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm not looking around at what other people are doing. I don't care that some guy lost 300 pounds in 3 weeks. Uh, God bless him. I can't do what he did to get there. I'm not, I just can't, I can't do that. I can't, I can't eat water and steak for the next, 6 months of my life. I can barely do it for 3 days. So,
It,
I've got to do it the way that I can do it. And I have to
Mhm.
do what I can sustain. And listen, my motto, I talk about it on my site all the time, is moving, grooving, steadily improving. Okay.
Nice.
I'm far ahead of where I was even from May. I used to eat lettuce and tomato every day. Every day. Well, maybe not every day, 5 days a week. Taco salad was my best friend. Ground beef with some lettuce, tomato, salsa, guacamole. Man, I'd knock it down. I haven't had lettuce or tomato. Well, I had a hamburger Saturday. But before before that, it's been weeks. If you'd have told me that I would have been doing that, I'd have said you're out of your mind. I made some ground beef last week for I think the first time in my entire life without any onions or peppers in it. I've never in my life had ground beef without onions and peppers in it. I just said I'm going to try it. Hey, I'm going to do it today. So I'm not closing the door on anything, you know. But my number being around 15 is comfortable. I know I can sustain that. I know I can. It's not even a question. And I can get where I want to go with my number at 15. I could probably get there with my number at 20 or 25, but I don't need to do that. If I did, I would. But my numbers of 15 is holding pretty steady. And listen, some days it's zero. Today it's zero. I had bacon and eggs and salmon today. That's all I've had today. I go zero a couple of days a week, but I can't sustain that. I can't sustain that. You
Do
know,
you feel at all different the next day when you've had 0 that day? Like tomorrow morning, will you feel, I don't know, will you feel more ketogenic, or like will your breath maybe be a little bit more keto breath or something like that?
I haven't noticed that. I don't know. Maybe if after I've done it longer, I have friends that say, "Man," because I'm gonna. I made a video earlier today and posted it on my channel. So it's not news. I'll tell you. The last 2 days have been uh, Carbapalooza for me, and I knew that the month of September would be, um, because I have a lot going on. It's the start of football season. Got some tailgating action going on. I got a birthday. I got a vacation. I got a lot going on in September. And again, this is all part of my 90-10 philosophy. I understand, there's going to be, some speed bumps. I was joking about it in my video. I'm like, the Keto Mobile is going to have a couple of dents in it because I might hit a guardrail. I might end up in a ditch for a little bit, but I will not total the Keto Mobile. There will not be a total. I will promise it'll stay on the road regardless of whether I hit a guardrail or not. So, but I'm good with that. I know and I understand. Understand this. So in the last couple of days, I was in the ditch. I had some pizza, a hamburger, some fries, um, some fried chicken with biscuits, and some chicken nuggets. I mean, this last 48 hours has been that was Saturday and Sunday. And then today, zero carbs today. Just right back on the program. And people people say, "Don't you feel bad?" No, I don't. People ask me that when I stopped and got my burrito on the way back from the ketogenic summit. I had a burrito and a sweet tea, and and Adam asked me, "Didn't you feel bad?" I said, "Yeah, I felt bad that I didn't get 2 burritos because I really wanted 2, but I only got 1."
It's,
So but I never felt bad. See, that's the thing, Dave. I never felt bad. When I tell you I didn't have any other problems other than being heavy, I mean that. I didn't have any
mm,
other problems. I just was getting to a place where I couldn't carry my weight. I didn't have any of the other problems that a lot of people have, the brain fog and the fatigue. I didn't have any of that. Still don't.
mm.
So no, I don't feel any different. The only thing that I did notice that was different was on day 2, I started getting very thirsty, and I drank a lot of water on day, and then today I was really hungrier than normal. Um, that's the only difference in terms of I knew something was going on physiologically because I mean, like I said, day 1 was cool, but day 2, yeah, I just started just being real. I probably drank a gallon of water, and then today, when I got up, I was just hungry as a bear, and that's not normally the case. But I ate, I ate good, and I just, I was back on the program. And I'll be back on the program. And I weighed myself to Saturday because I knew. See, I only weigh myself once a month on the 15th of the month. People that go to my site know that. So I weighed in at 511 on the 15th of August, down from 548. And then on the second Saturday, because I knew the storm was coming, I decided to weigh in early because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to wait till the 15th because by the 15th, only God knows what I'll be. So I was down to 508. So I was down another 3 pounds. So I thought it might be interesting to weigh myself on the second. I'm still going to weigh myself on the 15th, like I always do. And then I'll weigh myself again on October the 15th. And we'll make it like a little metabolic science experiment and see how it all shakes out. But when I put that video up on my site, I told people, I'm like, listen, I'm fine. There's no cause for alarm here. I'm not losing my mind. I'm not giving up my keto life. It's nothing like that. These are just speed bumps. People are like, oh, hang in there. We're with you. All that. I'm like, oh, stop it. Stop it. I had a hamburger. And here's another thing, Dave, that's interesting to me. I didn't have a sugary drink. Now, it's funny to me because I was one of those folks years ago, before I know what I know now, that used to, you'd be with your buddies and somebody eat a half a pizza and a sub and then drink a Diet Coke. And you're like, what are you drinking Diet Coke for? You just ate a half a pizza and a big sub sandwich. It's like, come on. But now that I understand metabolic health differently, I kind of get that. Now, I don't think they were doing it for that reason, but I'm there because I'm thinking, okay, I probably had 200 carbs this weekend, give or take, but it could have been 600 because I could have drank another 400 carbs easily. In 2 days, are you kidding me? I could have knocked down a 6 pack of Coke each day. So it's interesting that even now when I do, and even like the burrito and the sweet tea, like I was talking about, are you kidding me? Normally, I would have gotten a lot more than that. So even when I'm off of my norm and out of my routine, it's not like it used to be. And I find that very interesting as well.
How would you recommend someone get started with this if they're unhappy with the way they're feeling, or like you mentioned, they maybe getting to the point where they can't carry the weight anymore or something like that? How would you recommend they get started
I
so that they
recommend
can
the
stick
same
to
thing
it?
for every. I recommend the same thing for everybody. This is my brand of keto evangelism. Um, I start with the carb number. You got to know where you're at. You got to know how many carbs you're eating a day, and you got to know what a carbohydrate is. And because we are in this life, a lot of times we take for granted that people know things that they don't know. So I start with, what's your carb number? Well, my what? Yeah, how many carbs do you eat in a day? I don't know. Well, you need to know, and here's why. Then I go into those things. And inevitably, somebody will come back to me like, I ate 308 carbs yesterday. Okay, great. Let's try to get it to 300 tomorrow. I mean, that's how I approach it because, again, I get it because I'm in the family. I understand. You know things, you're doing things, you're ahead of them. And sometimes we lose sight of where we were when we first came into this life. Um, you're trying to tell a guy about autophagy and ketosis. He's still got a bagel in his hand. I mean, that's just, I'm seriously. I mean, that's where some of us are. And I'm like, dude, the guy's still got a bagel in his hand. How about you just tell him about, you know how many carbs are in that bagel? Do you know how many, and do that? Because most people are not going to jump from the bagel in their hand to carnivore. That's not the path for most people. I don't even think that's the path for most carnivores. Yes, there's some people who just jumped in, but I think there's just as many people who went to keto, to ketovore, to carnivore. I think that's the more natural path. So if you get somebody, if I can get you counting your carbs and knowing how many carbs you eat a day, I got you. I got you now because it's into your mind. And every time you eat something, you're thinking, how many carbs is that? How many carbs is that? It's a natural thing. And you work to get that number lower and lower and lower. Because again, there's a lot to overcome, Dave. We're mere mortals here. You got to worry about your addictions, your habits, your traditions, your foods that you love, um, your doctor, your family. I mean, there are so many battles to fight. You can't fight them all. And even the doctor thing, it's funny to me. We're so quick to criticize people for following their doctors. And I get it because again, I'm in the life, I'm part of the family. But I tell people this. If Dr. Barry came on the channel tomorrow and said, I've been studying this and I've come to the conclusion you shouldn't eat thick cut bacon anymore. It's bad for you. Don't eat it. Eat regular bacon. I bet you 75% of people would stop buying thick cut bacon because Dr. Barry said you shouldn't. Even though you might be thinking, well, that seems odd. Thick cut bacon? If Dr. Barry said it, that's what we would do. But yet we criticize that same person who's not doing it because their doctor told them that they shouldn't. Did it occur to you that they appreciate their doctor the same way we appreciate ours? So it's just, sometimes you got to take a deep breath. I know we're excited about it and passionate about it. Man, listen, I'm free. There's nobody more excited or more passionate about this thing than me. But I haven't been in it long enough that I forget my doubts and my hesitancy and my fears. I haven't forgotten. I haven't been in it that long. So I just approach it a little bit different with folks because it does sound crazy. It does fly in the face of everything you've ever learned about nutrition and health. And it stopped me for 20 years. I learned about this in 2003, never gave it a serious thought because it just sounded like kookery. So, I hope I never get to the place where I can't put myself in that person's shoes and say, yeah, I get it, man. I was, I was scared too at first, or I get it. You love your doctor. You're listening to your doctor. You've had that doctor for years. I don't hit him with your doctor's a dummy. Your doctor's wrong. I don't do that. Hey, I got a doctor too. Maybe I can introduce you to him. You know, or here's a different doctor. Maybe find a ketogenic doctor. Ask your doctor if they're familiar with it. I don't just go in with them. You know what I mean? And that's just me. I'm not here to judge anybody or criticize anybody. I'm just here to share, my story, my thoughts. I'm the world's foremost expert on my opinion, Dave. Nobody knows more
No,
about my opinion than me. And I'm
look,
also still in the struggle. God bless these people who have gotten to their goal weights and have done. God bless those people. I'm so happy for those people. We need them. They're great inspirations. I love everybody, man. I'm on everybody's team. Keto, carnivore, ketovore. Whatever team is winning, I'm on that team, Dave. That's
Nice.
And we all have a song to sing, and we all have a message to share. And we're all pulling the rope the same way. At least I certainly hope we are, you know?
Mm.
So, but I say it all the time. If God wanted all of us to sound like Dr. Barry, we'd all be wearing overalls falling off the back of tractors. Okay. But, I sing my song in my style, my voice. And, if you don't like my tune, man, there's 1,000 other tunes out there you can listen to. God
Mm.
bless them all. I think we're all, you know, we're all on the same team here. Stevia is not the enemy. Blueberries and arugula are not the enemy. you know,
Mm.
the enemy is sugar, junk food, fast food, processed foods. I don't care. Listen, your carb number might be 0. Mine is 15. I got news for you. There ain't a lot of difference between your plate and mine, brother.
Yeah,
There ain't a lot of difference. 15 carbs in a day, that ain't a lot of carbs.
that's right.
So we have a lot, we're brothers in this thing. I don't have
Mm.
time to argue over petty things like ketovore, carnivore, dirty this, dirty that. I don't have time for that. Get your carb number as low as you can comfortably sustain it and use that as a building block to build on. If you're eating 500 carbs a day like I was, get to 300,
Mm.
get to 200. Because what inevitably will happen, Dave, is you take somebody who's eating and drinking 500 carbs a day, you get them to 300, they're going to see some results. They're going to feel different. They're going to see that. And then you get them to 300, now you get them to 200, then you get them to 100. Now they're seeing more results. Now you don't have to tell them anything. Now they are trying to get their number as low as possible because they see the benefits. You know, you don't have to snatch the bagel out of their hand and hit them in the face with a steak. You know, I mean, let people work at their pace, at their at their rate. And I tell people it's not a race. I'm not racing anybody. And I'm not competing with anybody. Like I said, that's just that's the view from here, Dave. That's the view from here.
Nice. Um, so Russ, how can people find your channel?
Homesick Buckeye, man. That's me. You can find me on YouTube at Homesick Buckeye. I have Instagram, Homesick Buckeye, TikTok, homesick.buckeye. I'm not on there very much, but I do some goofy shorts every once in a while and things like that. And my channel has got stupidness and silliness, and we do the keto cookout. We got to have you on there, with us one of these soon, Dave. The keto cookout Tuesdays at 9 Eastern with Adam Lacey. Adam. Alia Wells, and Damon Holly. We have different guests every week, and we cut up and clown and act a fool on there. It's kind of it's infotainment. It's some information, but it's more entertainment. If you know me, I'm liable to bust out into a song at any given time. I do silly song parodies and goofy things like that. We were on a podcast, I think, the other day, and somebody asked me about a country song, and I said, I'm carbless. When it comes to eating food, I'll eat anything you want me to, as long as there's no carbs at all. That's old Shameless. That's Garth Brooks, an old song. So I think of silly stuff like that all the time, and I like to make people laugh and smile. That's my gift to the keto world. We got a lot of doctors, nutritionists, scientists. We got all these folks. How about the clowns? How about the clowns? We need some clowns. So if you want the serious, science and all the big words, that's not the channel. You come to my channel, you're going to see hijinks and tomfoolery. And, I just share my life with people, and I just hope there's something they can get out of it of value. I do keto my way. It's different than many. And I want to give people that license as well. Do it your way. You find your comfort level and then work and build and grow from there. We're moving, grooving, steadily improving. So if where you're at now is not where you have to be, and don't compare yourself to where you want to be. Compare yourself to where you came from. That's what it's about. And I think that message is important. And it's important for people to see that from folks that are still in the struggle. I know the struggle. I know the pain. I'm still 500 pounds. I still look like the before and after picture, Dave. Okay. So I get it. But I'm telling you that I'm doing it. I'm getting results, and you can do it too. And it hits different. I tell people I do a walk and talk thing every once in a while where I go out and walk with my phone, and I'm like, hey, if you are 499 pounds or less, I don't want to hear any excuses. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Okay, because I'm 500 pounds, I'm humping up and down this driveway. I don't want to hear anything from you if you weigh less than that. Okay, so we want to motivate people, uplift people, encourage people. We have a life-saving, life-changing message, Dave, and we got to get that message to everybody. And we need all the voices, all the styles, all the different methods, to reach as many people as we can with this life-changing, life-saving message.
Thank you very much for being with us today and sharing your message, Russ. I really
And Dave,
appreciate it.
the honor and pleasure was all mine. You are one of the shining stars. I love your energy. I love the person that you are. You're a good, just a kind-hearted soul. You got, I just think, the right energy, the right everything for our space, and you are an asset to the community. And I'm very, very honored and proud that I could have been here with you today.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.